Good afternoon, everybody. When you speak at conferences, you have a look at the agenda and you think, please don't give me the slot after lunch. Because everybody's full, everyone's had a great meal. In Italy, everyone has a glass of wine. It's the sleepy spot, okay? But I've got some good news for you. Atlante are famous for giving our customers the best prices, the best service. So for one day only, Atlante are going to give you a 2-for-1 offer. So for this presentation, you're going to get 2 Atlante presenters for the price of 1 presentation. Okay. So my name's Steve Johnson. I'm proud to head up the quality and business transformation team at Atlante. I'm going to do the first part of the session, and that's going to be focused on reporting, ESG, and the challenges that's going to pose to businesses going forward. So it can be quite a dry subject. I will do my best to make it not too dry, but there's some really, really important messages we need to get across, not just for Atlante, but for all businesses in this room. So that's going to be the first part of the session. The second part of the session is going to be the really interesting part. It's the sexy part. And my colleague, Gian Stefano, there he is going to be talking about the real-life scenarios we face. So I'm going to be talking about the reporting, the mandates we're all going to have to do. And Gian Stefano, who works as our ethical manager within Atlante, he's going to share with you some of the real-life examples of what we face into on a daily basis. Okay? Does that work? Are you still with me? Perfecto, perfecto. Before I start, I'm just going to play a small video just to really frame this session. Some would say that's an interesting video. Some would say that's quite a depressing video as well, because the challenges we've faced over the last 10 years have been huge. So that was taken from the World Economic Forum in 2021. If you think what's happened since 2021 to 2024, it's really getting tough. So just businesses in this room who are trading are doing a brilliant job just to stay afloat. But it is going to get tougher. It's going to get tougher because from a sustainability perspective, there's a whole load of work we're all going to have to do to make sure we can deliver. Because otherwise, we are going to end up in a real mess and businesses will go out of business and people will suffer. Okay? So the positive note on this is we are innovative. We do change. People are brilliant at changing. So I am confident that we will find a solution to many of the world's issues on sustainability. But where there is going to be a huge amount of action, we're all going to have to share in that, and we're all going to have to share the data between ourselves. So what I want to talk about today is how Atlante are positioning themselves to make sure we're in a position we can deliver for our customers, for our producers, but also share some of the highlights we've done when we've looked at our sustainable materiality assessments. So this will give us the areas that we're going to focus on. Okay, and I've really just stolen Natasha's word here, and I put my own words to it because environmental, social, and governance requires a novel solution, but long-term commitments. So no longer can companies say lots of green things and actually do very little. We are moving into an area now where there's going to be mandatory reporting, which is going to be really tough for many, many companies. So again, another scary slide, really, and I'm not going to go into the details of this, but I just really want to point out we are approaching a time where sustainability reporting deadlines are fast approaching. So I've been working in sustainability for far too long, and I look at these deadlines, and these are really at our door. So if I'll just point out a few, there's a corporate sustainability reporting directive. So these initiatives here will mandate all businesses will have to publish an ESG report, which is fully audited. So if you think about a financial audit, where you get auditors in, verify the numbers, make sure the numbers are correct. Come 2027, most businesses in the EU and beyond will have to do an ESG report, which is fully audited, checked, and published. So that's a big change for the industry. That's going to be a big challenge to the industry, because all of a sudden, what businesses are doing can really be validated. It's going to be in a public domain. So greenwashing is going to disappear. We are going to enter an age where people know exactly what every business is going to be doing. On top of that, this is just not an EU initiative. Even in the UK, which we all know is not part of the EU now, which is very sad, but even in the UK, there's regulations coming in which are giving mandatory reporting for all businesses. So if your business hasn't been aware of these, I urge you to take a look, because we're only 2 to 3 years away when we're all going to have to do some mandatory reporting. Okay? So from an Atlante perspective, this is how we've set ourselves up to make sure we can deliver this. We need governance at the top level. So we've had a sustainability strategy for some time, and we've had a governance process in some time. But the bits which we really need to do is benchmarking and materiality, because this really gives us the standards which we've got to deliver on. And you can see from our structure here, we're now working on the ESG report for this year. So that's going to be the first time we've published an ESG report from an Atlante SRL perspective. Now, that report's not going to be perfect. It's not going to be complete, but it will certainly give an indication of the areas which we're working on. And then what I want to just very quickly talk you through next is what's benchmarking we've done, and then what the materiality assessments we've done. So from a governance perspective, Atlante has an operations board, and we have 3 leaders in the business who manage all our sustainability activity. So there's lots of work going on within Atlante. But what we've not done particularly well is making sure we can report consistently on what we can do. So the first thing we did was look at the benchmarks externally. So we picked 10 of our suppliers, our producers, our logistics partners, and really had a look to say, what are these guys doing? Because these are our partners we work with. And what was interesting, 2 of the benchmarks didn't report on anything. And then it really gave us the main outcomes were sustainable packaging was on everyone's list, which is clearly what we expected. But there were certain things in there which we didn't expect. So transparent customer care is not something we'd considered in our own sustainability angle. So it really gave us new information so we can focus on what we should do next. So the other interesting fact is 80% of the companies disclose a materiality matrix, and 90% of companies produce a sustainability report. But only 56% of companies did it in line with GRI principles. So GRI principles is what all ESG reports are going to be based on. Consistent across all industries, making sure everyone reports accurately. So even the companies who are publishing sustainability reports, only half are doing it in line to the standards which are required. So once we've done the benchmark, we try to find out what's the materiality impact to our business. So lots of people will talk about materiality. So what materiality is how does it impact us as a business? And double materiality is how does the external environment affect us? So there's the impact we do ourselves, and then there's a financial impact it has on our business by others. So you'll hear lots of people talking about sustainability, and you'll hear lots of new words, but don't get bamboozled by it. We're just looking at impacts on our business. So if we looked at impact materiality, so this is our view. So we were quite confident we knew what we were doing, and these were the 13 matrix which we highlighted. So climate change was number 1. So clearly we have to act on climate change. Food waste number 2, and responsible sourcing number 3. So lots of things people know about, and lots of things people do some great work on. But when we looked externally, again, it brought in some things we'd not considered. And again, it really emphasised that transparent customer care was really high on the external viewpoint. So people looking outside in wanted more and more information. And we've heard already from the speakers before that the customers will be getting lots more information in the next few years, whether it's through barcodes, whether it's through information on the internet. So customers are demanding more, and that, therefore, this is an impact we're going to have to face into. So when we multiply all these together, we have our double materiality results. So these are the 13 points Atlante are going to be working on from our ESG perspective. So every one of these points we will report on in line with the global reporting initiatives. So at the moment, we are collecting data, we're doing lots of reporting, we're validating the data we have, and then we'll be publishing our ESG report. So if your business haven't gone through this process, if your businesses aren't aware of what materiality is and what your material impacts are, I urge you to try and read up on this and get ahead of this, because this is going to be, if you don't, it's going to be a real big impact come 2026 and 2027. So just to finish my slot, data is king. Sharing data is going to be king, because we don't know everything, and as individuals, you don't know everything. But together, we will be able to solve this. So traditionally, we don't like sharing data. We don't like doing anything which may give other companies, potentially, dare I say, a competitive advantage. But in the future, if we don't share that data, we will not be able to solve this issue. So with the ONS, there's lots of new mechanisms happening now where we can share data better. And over the next 18 months, there's going to be a hell of a lot more data which has to be shared to make sure everyone can deliver on their reports. I'd also say we're going to deliver, this is where I put myself on the spot and commit to Q3, we'll be delivering our ESG report. Okay? And you will all see that. And we'll be really proud to say that's the first report we've done. And finally, we really are looking for partners to help us with our broader sustainability activities as well. So again, we'd love to hear from you guys about what you're doing on your sustainability activities, so we can, 1, maybe copy it. There's nothing wrong with plagiarism. But 2, definitely help share with advice, expertise and data as well. So thank you. That's all from me. I hope it wasn't too dry. I'll do my best.